So I start by looking at the career development process, and with networking, this is really one of the areas where you could be kind of engaged in any part of this career development process snapshot here. These four different quadrants of knowing yourself, exploring options, getting focused, and taking action. Um, so, like I said, for networking, if you want to be an effective networker, it's going to be important to know yourself, know what you're interested in, know what's important to you, um, know what you're good at, in order to communicate those with employers or contacts with whom to network. A lot of networking can be done to explore options, and I'll talk about specific ways to do that later for occupational research. Also to find out more about industry trends and potentially linking your academic major to career options. Getting focused, it can help you with decision making and goal setting in order to figure out, what you want to pursue. And then also, when you're connecting with employers, even if it is at that information gathering stage, you're taking action and you're actually reaching out and discussing your career goals with someone else. So again, we're kind of all over the place tonight, which isn't always the case with career development topics. So some of the points that I'm going to bring up come from this book called Highly Effective Networking, Meet the Right People and Get a Great Job by Orville Pearson. It's an easy read. I think it's a pretty good career networking resource. And so I'm just going to start out by talking about the basics, and then we'll get into elevator speeches and talk about um, informational interviewing and some myths about networking. So everyone says you need to do it. So what is networking? So simply having a conversation with someone for the purpose of exploring careers or job searching. So deciding to network effectively means while you cannot control things on the hiring side. So for example, you can't make people interview you. You can't stop someone from hiring one of their friends over you. You can't control conditions of the job market. And that's especially true now, and as things have been evolving over the last year, the job market is could be very volatile depending on what you're pursuing personally. But you are in charge of networking and how you do it. You can decide with whom you want to talk to. If you are able to arrange some kind of conversation, you can try to make them comfortable, and you can collect the information that you seek. It helps you to prepare for a job hunt in ways that we will discuss later, but basically this is done by making contacts, becoming a recognized name, and gathering intel. Networking is important throughout your career to find new contacts and maintain meaningful career relationships, but ultimately networking is the best tool to find work. And that hasn't changed at all, and that's really the way it has been for many, many, many years. Most people do not are not successful in finding a job only by applying to open listings online, but rather by activating their network and expanding their network. So your elevator speech, what is it? What is an elevator speech? And you probably assume that I'm referring to, of course, the Otis Elevator Company, the American company founded in 1853 that develops, manufactures, and markets elevators, escalators, moving walkways, and related equipment. The very same company that pioneered the development of the safety elevator, which used a special mechanism to lock the elevator car in place should the hoisting ropes fail. So what I did there was an elevator speech about elevators. And I apologize for you having to deal with my very interesting sense of humor. But what is an elevator speech? It's a clear and concise message or advertisement about you. It communicates who you are, what you're looking for, and how you can benefit a company or solve their business problems. It typically takes about 30 seconds. The time it takes to ride from the bottom of a building to the top, riding in an elevator. The idea is that you are prepared to share this information with anyone at any time, even in an elevator. I would assume it rarely actually happens in an elevator, but it's important to be prepared. So rehearse your 30-second elevator speech with a friend or in front of a mirror. The important thing is to practice it out loud. You want it to sound natural. You want to get comfortable with what you have to say so you can breeze through it when the time comes. So some questions and prompts to help you craft an elevator speech. So in your introduction, describe yourself and your work. What problems have you solved or which contributions have you made? Try to think of a vivid example of an achievement if you can. Think of a special service, product, or solution that you can offer an organization. What are the advantages of working with you? How are you different from the competition? Do you have business cards after COVID? So if you're meeting with someone in person when this is in the rear view, making sure even if you're entry level and you're just a job seeker, it's important to have a business card too. Who is your target? Who's your target audience? How do you help a business make a profit? Do you have a special approach to a business or client service? So after you have written some of these thoughts down on paper to craft your elevator speech, it's time to start cutting down and crafting that message. So you're really going to want to expand and elucidate as much as you really want to at first, while you're really trying to gather all these talking points that you can think of, and then cut it down. So make strong, short, and powerful sentences, eliminate unnecessary words, connect phrases together, memorize key points, and practice. And of course, then comes the most important question of reflection. So for your target audience, have you answered the question, what's in it for me? What is the so what principle in business? So what? Why would you be a good fit for that audience? And if you're targeting different industries or jobs, you'll want to think about crafting different versions for different business situations of your elevator speech. So some examples, highly realistic examples here. I'll just read off a few for a few different student situations. So nice to meet you. I'm Ann Potts. I'm currently a senior studying management information systems. I hope to become a computer programmer when I graduate. I've had a couple of internships where I worked on several program applications with a project team. I enjoy developing computer apps for simple business solutions. The position that you have listed in Handshake seems like it would be a perfect fit for someone with my skills. I'd like to hear more about the type of project teams in your organization. Another example, hi, my name is Ernest Hudson. I am a senior environmental sciences major. I'm looking for a position that will allow me to use my research and analytical skills. Over the past few years, I've been strengthening these through my work with the local watershed council on conservation strategies to support water quality and habitats. Eventually, I'd like to develop education programs on water conservation awareness. I read that your organization is involved in water quality projects. Can you tell me how someone with my experience may fit into your organization? Another example. Hi, my name is Harry Ramus. I'm currently a sophomore student with the WSU Global Campus. I'm exploring my options, but plan on majoring in business, specifically in accounting. This summer, I did an internship with the Banshee Hedge Fund Group, and I hope to gain experience in a local credit union soon. Next summer, I'm hoping to get another internship learning more about how the international financial market operates. Ever since I can remember, I've always had an interest in numbers, and I feel certain this is something I want to do in my future career. And so another way to kind of build this content is to utilize a couple of resources just for information gathering before you connect with people. So I recommend the Occupational Outlook Handbook. I listed ONET also. There's going to be a lot of overlap of information there. So I'm just going to show off very briefly the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So bear with me while I do a quick share of that. And make sure that worked. So I'm over here at bls.gov/OOH. This is the landing page for the Occupational Outlook Handbook. It is housed by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's updated, all the time in order to forecast jobs and job clusters, hundreds of jobs and job clusters in the US, to kind of let career researchers know, like, am I pursuing or interested in a career that is growing, that's in a decline, or that's kind of stagnant? To give you, some more information about whether or not it's something that you should continue to pursue. So I will just do a random search here. I'll refresh my page, see what it gives me. Not that, psychologist, let's see. Chemical technicians. Okay, let's say that I wanted to become a chemical technician. I'm going to go here. So you can search just by writing in the search bar, of course. There's an A through Z index if you want to look at careers alphabetically. I just refreshed to see which featured occupation they pulled up. So I'm going to click on view profile just to show you kind of what it looks like for any given occupation or cluster and how you would use it for career networking. So it just starts with a summary that kind of hits on all these different sections here, but I'm looking at these tabs at the top. What do they do? Work environment, how to become one, pay, job outlook, state and area data, similar occupations, and more info. So what they do is going to be talking about the job duties for this given job, and it'll also break it down into different types if it's more of a job cluster area, which it's not going to do for chemical techs. Work environment, kind of the industry breakdown usually is what it is. Some other considerations, injuries and illness and work schedules, how to become one. So what kind of education, training, and licensure is required to pursue a given career. The pay, excellent career research information. Pay. So you can see the breakdown and different medians based on different types. Job outlook. So this is how the Occupational Outlook Handbook gets its name. It's projected to grow 3% from 2019 to 2029, which is, average, as fast as the average for all occupations. So it would suggest that there is some, stability there in the career. State and local data, similar occupation. So if you find something you're interested in, but maybe, you're finding out different parts of it that don't appeal to you, the pay or the preparation required, you can look at something that's related to it. And then more info helps you connect with some professional associations and might have some more career information there. And then there's an ONET link for this one too. So like I said, Occupational Outlook Handbook and ONET are going to have a lot of overlap here. For networking, I would focus on what they do. So as you're trying to think about a target audience, think about the duties related to that job or industry, given whatever it is you're researching here. So you can think about how these duties might apply to you. If you have any transferable skills or work experiences that kind of speak to those. Also, how to become one. While it will have the educational part and the licensure and training, it also talks about important skills for a given career. So for this one, to use technology, analytical communication, critical thinking, interpersonal observation, and time management. And then it specifically talks about what that means for this career. So I don't know, for critical thinking, chemical technicians reach their conclusions through sound reasoning and judgment. Analytical, chemical technicians must conduct specific experiments with accuracy and precision. And then the other one specifically for career networking, more information, having that professional association to go to as a next step to try to reach out to people, to talk to them about the work they do, to learn more about the industry, to find out about how you might fit within it. So that's a really nice part of it too, to have that more information tab as a resource for finding people to connect with. Okay, so that is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. Let me go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. Systematic networking. So what are the 4 goals of networking? And it's, some of these things seem kind of basic, but I think it's important to just reiterate these exercises or the point of these exercises, kind of just to bring it all together in a cohesive way. So to get the word out about your search and yourself, to let people know what you're looking for work, let them know what type of work you're pursuing. If you're currently employed, you need to be careful about whom you tell. So make sure it's a trusted source. So you don't want getting the word getting out, if you're looking to leave an organization. And that's something that's kind of like a work culture thing that you have to kind of feel out on your own. That's one of the really difficult, ambiguous parts of career networking and job seeking. Gathering the information you need. So we'll discuss how you do this in a bit with an exercise known as informational interviewing. Meeting insiders at target organizations. Again, there's going to be an overlap with that in informational interviewing. But a good point to make is to gather information from other employees in the company, who would be your colleagues, before actually talking with decision makers, if it's possible, because you'll have a better idea of how and what to communicate to the decision maker by first talking to the other employees that work under them. To get in touch with decision makers, lastly, so ideally this would be a conversation. So don't think of it as an interview. Let them know that you are around, that you're qualified, available, and interested. And then, another post-COVID thing to point out, it's best to try to do this in person if possible. Deciding to network effectively. So we're going to talk about decide, prepare, talk, and land in terms of systematic networking. So decide means decide to network effectively by defining what you'll do and what you won't do with your networking and what you want to do with your career goals. Prepare, so make a target list of companies or people you want to reach out to. Think about your professional objectives and your core message. So again, your elevator speech, your professional summary, let's say on a resume, your LinkedIn page, how it's tailored, your cover letter before your resume, all those things are in the preparation side. And then talking to personal and professional contacts, getting referrals when possible, exchanging information with contacts, keeping records and keeping people informed. So using the internet as much as you can to set these up, but no website will do the work for you. And job sites are mostly ineffective when it comes to job searching. Like I said, networking is still the main way that people are finding work. And then land a new job by combining networking with other job search strategies. Staffing firms, job posting, filling applications, cold calling, direct mailing, showing up post-COVID, networking with specific contacts. Mm-hmm. Some networking myths to discuss. So the first one is that you have to know a lot of people. While larger networks are important for some careers or industries like politics, sales, executive recruiting, for most people, it's more important to focus on and use the network that we already have. Not to say that you shouldn't also attempt to expand your network through some other networking exercises that I will get to, but really starting with what you already have is really a good way to start with career networking. That it's all about meeting company leaders and hiring managers. So it's important to think of it like 6 degrees of separation. You don't need to meet the person at the very top, but rather someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, anyone who can lead you to a relevant decision maker. And that it's all about power networking. This is the idea that you spend time networking every day to get into the exclusive club, where job search networking is really more about community than power. That you need to be pushy and aggressive. Some people view networking as sales, but it's really not. It's more about exchanging information between parties with a common interest. Networking is just informational interviewing, which I will talk about soon, I promise. I keep saying it, which is a great technique of networking, but networking doesn't have to be as time intensive and as formal, and you can ask broader questions. And that networking groups are the only place to network. And these are things that are, often held in churches or community centers, or in bigger cities, their whole businesses centered around career networking. I know one I was following pre-pandemic, I believe it was called Network After Work, one here in Seattle, where I'm based. But those are helpful. Those are definitely helpful groups to be in touch with, especially if it's a values match and you like the other participants. But networking is a person-to-person activity that can really be done anywhere. And that's definitely something that's been happening over the last year, for sure. Networking tools. So some places to find contact information, and some resources to utilize. So it's important to know, it's important to have a LinkedIn presence if you are looking to network. You want to be in touch with the WSU Alumni Association on LinkedIn, and also on and also their website, and also their social media. So alumni.wsu.edu. There are a lot of career networking events throughout the year that are offered through the Alumni Association that are available to WSU students. You don't have to be a graduate yet. So just being in touch with the Alumni Association, finding people on LinkedIn that have a connection. It's always great if you are connecting with someone who went to WSU. It just gives you, an extra reason for them to follow up with you. Informational interviewing. I'm finally getting to it. Why did it take me so long? Excuse me. So what is informational interviewing? Um, these are conversations that you arrange with people who have knowledge and experience in professions you wish to investigate. This strategy is useful throughout one's career. It's used by experienced professionals to research advancement opportunities, as well as workers seeking first careers or career changers. So, some of the reasons to do it would be to gain insight and information from personal accounts of the work setting, knowledge and skill requirements, and current trends in the field, to develop your networking skills and introduce yourself to people in the profession, to help you identify how to prepare yourself and work toward a particular goal, to increase motivation in working toward goals, to build confidence and experience in interacting with professionals. So, some considerations: remember that informational interviews are different from job interviews. Employers will appreciate your awareness. Don't try to misrepresent a request for an informational interview as a backdoor approach to a job search. And first impressions count here just as they do with a job interview. Think about where to find people. So think about which occupations you're considering in your career planning. Like I said, LinkedIn, those professional associations that are relevant from the Occupational Handbook, the WSU Alumni Association. Um, who does the type of work that you're interested in? Where are they located geographically? What types of organizations and firms hire these people? You know, while direct in-person interviewing is best, it may not always be possible. See the last uh, 14 months. You may want to go beyond your local community to make contacts by phone or online. Ask family, friends, neighbors, teachers, and don't forget about organizational contacts like the Chambers of Commerce, or professional associations. Be prepared by doing homework ahead of time. Know what kind of information you're seeking. Learn as much as you can ahead of time. Um, you should think through what you want to say about yourself and be ready to ask questions about your areas of interest, your previous experience, and your future plans. Be sure to keep contact names both accurate in spelling and pronunciation, which includes administrative professionals, support staff who assist you with arrangements. Keep records not only of the content of your interview, but also names, dates, comments, and referrals. You may want to have a resume ready in case it's requested, but often you'll learn something during the informational interview and you might want to change something on your resume. Um, Prepare a notebook ahead of time with your most important questions and have it ready for note taking. Know what you want to communicate about yourself as a potential worker in the field. Follow general good principles of interviewing. So discuss the time frame available. Try to emphasize open-ended questions that involve more than a yes or no response. Try to take notes without it interfering with the discussion. Avoid inappropriate or too personal questions like personal salary level, marital status, religious backgrounds, things like that. So what are some questions you could ask during an informational interview? How did you get started? What is your educational background? Is your job what you expected? What do you have to know to be good at your job? What skills are most important? What are your greatest challenges? What is most rewarding? And what is most stressful? Um, what is a typical salary range for this area? So not a personal salary range, but a typical one that someone could expect, coming in as a career changer or entry level or what have you. What are some suggestions for gaining experience? How do people advance through the profession? What are some related occupations? And so be sure to, send a note, a thank you note after your informational interview, just as you would with a job interview. Should reiterate some of the major points you learned, and of course, well written and free of spelling errors. And also write a summary. During the interview, you might be sure that you'll remember everything, but don't count on it. Writing a summary will not only help you with the learning process, but provide a valuable record for future activities. Put your notes in the sequence of the interview and complete the thoughts you didn't get a chance to write down during. And then take some time to reflect on it. What surprised you and what did you learn? If you had to do it over, what might you ask? What else might you ask? Or what might you not ask? What were your feelings during the interview process? What were your strongest impressions from the experience? And very important, it's very important to remember that an informational interview is a sample size of one. So no matter whether the person loved or hated their job, be cautious about generalizing it to the whole occupation or profession or company. You might have caught the person on a particularly unusual day or a bad day. So it's if you can interview more than one person for that given role or company or industry, you should definitely try to do that too. What do I mean when I say looping back to move ahead? This is about going back to the people you've already talked to and giving them a progress report and asking if they have any further information or referrals. Think of being on the other end of things, like a good friend will discuss their job search with you. You make a few suggestions, and after a couple weeks go by, you want to know how it's going. So emphasizing little successes and staying positive will benefit you in the long run. It's also important to Google yourself and make sure you are not tagged in any inappropriate photos on social media. If you have no internet presence, that's an issue too. So be sure to create accounts as appropriate, and at the bare minimum, have a LinkedIn page. And then networking groups as a tool also. Like I mentioned earlier, these are commonly found of community centers or businesses in large cities or churches, chambers of commerce. If you find one you like, let others know about your target companies and jobs, and focus on gathering information, and try to arrange future deeper conversations. Have business cards ready to go. And I think that does it. Yeah, I think that is what I wanted to share with you about career networking. Thank you so much for attending. I will stick around for some questions. I'll go hop in the chat here to see if there's anything I missed. But again, thank you so much.